There comes a time when each of us has to leave the place we once called home. It's the rule of life. When we grow up, we have to step out, to spread our wings and face the wide open sky on our own. Home is not just a house. It's the shelter of our parents, the routines of school, and the comfort of knowing exactly what comes next. At first, leaving can feel exciting, even freeing. But very soon, that same sky opens up with too many directions, and we find ourselves quietly asking, where should I go? The path of each person is different, and that feeling of uncertainty comes from different beginnings. Some are more fortunate, like birds raised in safety and warmth. They have what they need: a good education, financial stability, a clear direction. Their lives seem smooth, with fewer struggles. Yet when they finally leave their golden cage, many feel strangely empty. They know how to follow instructions, but have never learned how to make their own. The achievements and praises that once mattered now feel hollow when there's no system left to follow. Even the capable ones, those who quickly adapt and move forward, still feel lost deep inside, not lost in their work, but lost in the meaning behind it. Others have to leave the nest too soon, sometimes pushed out before they're ready. They don't get the luxury of dreaming. They have to wear armor and fight to survive. Every day is a battle, not for great goals, but simply to eat, to live, to make it through. They learn to be strong, quick, and practical. But that strength comes at a cost. When all their energy is spent just to survive and achieve, they forget how to rest, how to connect, how to slow down. The emptiness they feel is the exhaustion of a soul that's been fighting too long without a break. Whether it's emptiness from comfort or from hardship, whether the road is smooth or rough, in the end, we all face the same invisible pressure, the pressure to perform. To smile with friends, to study or work hard, to prove that we're useful, valuable, and keeping up. On the outside, everything may look fine. A steady job, good results, decent relationships. But inside, many people feel hollow. And then at night, when the world finally quiets down, when the phone is set aside, we can hear that small voice inside us. The question is no longer, what did I do today? But what am I really living for? It's in that quiet moment that we touch the deepest emptiness within, not from the lack of things or joy, but from the lack of true meaning to hold on to. That is the hidden corner this essay wants to reach, the quiet emptiness of the soul in everyday life. When we keep living, keep trying, yet no longer know exactly why. Asterisk, we live in a time when weakness is seen as failure, and happiness has become a duty. So everyone puts on a kind of armor called I'm fine. That cheerful face we show is just a layer of paint covering the cracks underneath. What's harder is that this pressure to be fine doesn't only come from others, it also comes from within. We tell ourselves not to be sad, not to break down, not to show pain. Slowly, we build an image of being strong and positive, hiding every real feeling, just to make the world believe we're still in control. This pressure becomes even heavier in the age of social media. With one glance at our phones, the world looks endlessly happy. Trips, smiling faces, stories of success everywhere. Our feed becomes a highlight reel of everyone's best moments. And while they shine on the screen, we quietly compare, feeling small, tired, and guilty for not being as happy. We start measuring our worth by other people's joy, and when we don't measure up, we tighten the mask again, forcing another smile that says, everything's fine. Get-togethers and conversations with friends often stop being moments of real sharing. They turn into small rituals, smiles, a few familiar words, then everyone goes home feeling just as empty as before. People ask how you're doing, but few really want to know the truth. Everyone is afraid that if they speak about their sadness, they'll be seen as negative, ungrateful, or weak. Each time we try to hold the image of being fine, we lose a little more energy. Energy that could have gone into understanding ourselves or connecting more deeply with others. But instead, we spend it on performing. The more we try to appear okay, the further we drift from who we really are. That's the paradox of modern life. The more we try to show connection on the outside, the lonelier we become inside. The small voice within, the part that wants to be heard, seen. And real gets buried under the noise of laughter and applause for a version of us that looks perfect, and then comes the cost of always being on guard. We forget how to relax. We stop speaking honestly. We hide every flaw as if one crack could make the whole image collapse. But keeping up that mask for too long drains everything inside. When we no longer have the strength to maintain it, we start to pull away. Fewer meetings, fewer messages, and slowly, we retreat into our own small space. In that space, at least we don't have to act anymore. But sadly, in that silence, the emptiness begins to grow even more. We still wake up early to go to school, to go to work, still try every day like everyone else. Yet sometimes, when we look back, all that effort suddenly feels dull without meaning. Why does this happen? The reason lies in the exhaustion built into the path we are walking. We know we need goals to move forward, like milestones to reach, financial stability, a place in society, or achievements that bring recognition. For many people, these aren't luxury choices, but simply the fight to secure the basics. We pour our minds and energy into climbing, believing that if we just reach those points, we will feel full. We will feel complete. But reality feels different. Modern society sets up too many barriers, especially for those who start lower down. The road ahead stretches longer and steeper. Halfway up the hill, many people start to feel unsteady, quietly asking themselves, am I even on the right path? Is all this struggle worth it? The emptiness isn't because the goal is wrong, but because our spirit is worn out after so long running on a rough road, while the destination keeps moving further away. When this mental exhaustion reaches its peak, we begin to lose the definition of who we are. The fight to survive erodes our personal values. We no longer know ourselves beyond the roles and responsibilities we carry. We measure our worth by what can be counted, grades, bank accounts, accomplishments, and forget the invisible values like honesty, compassion, or creativity. This is when a harsh truth appears. Effort does not always equal meaning. You can have energy, you can work hard, but still lack an inner lighthouse to guide you. We need a path drawn by our own values, not just the road laid down by others. Without a personal purpose, the daily fight becomes empty exhaustion. The hours of study and work turn into repeated events with no real soul. Then comes the sense of time passing without meaning. Day after day, everything blends together, leaving no deep mark. Life becomes a loop, every morning feeling like the last, only changing in details, but not in emotion. You realize you're losing some of the best years of your life in this meaningless repetition, and don't know how to press stop or reset. And so, when inner tiredness mixes with this colorless routine, our emotional energy drains away. We no longer have the strength to invest in deeper things, like real connection. We pull back, knowing we need understanding, but feeling afraid to bring our heaviness and exhaustion into any relationship. This retreat is the beginning of being lonely in a crowd, not loneliness from lack of people, but from lack of full sharing. Asterisk loneliness today is no longer just missing someone sitting next to you. It's the feeling of not having anyone who truly understands you. We still smile, still go out, still talk, but the connections grow thinner. People speak more to each other, but touch each other less. Meetings now feel like quick exchanges of information, fast, neat, leaving no echo. Instead of places where real feelings are shared. As adults, we don't just want someone beside us. We want a true companion, someone who can build a future with us, stand with us in the unknown parts of life. We long for a relationship deep and safe enough for us to drop all our defenses, to be ourselves without fear of judgment. Everyone needs a shelter, a place where the wounds inside are seen and soothed. Yet, ironically, the moment we crave it most is the moment the wall between people stands highest. The biggest barrier is not the fear of being judged, but the deep feeling, I'm not worthy. Many people see clearly their own shortcomings, the points society calls weak, being born poor, having no support, not fitting the standards of looks, or simply feeling not good enough to build a future with someone. These people don't lock their hearts on purpose. They just believe they're not good enough for someone to truly love them. In their minds, love and closeness are a fair exchange, and they don't have enough assets to take part. I can't even take care of myself. How could I love someone? How can I step into a relationship when the other person deserves someone with a stronger foundation than me? Questions like these become invisible walls. The sad part is, this self-doubt is not imagined. It grows from real experiences, from the sense of disadvantaged society quietly plants in each person. They don't rebel or complain, they simply accept that they are not enough and choose isolation. As a kind of protection, we'd rather accept the safe emptiness of living as an island in a sea of people than risk opening up and being rejected. We want someone to see the wounds under our armor, but we fear those wounds are too big, too ugly, or too heavy for someone else to accept. And so loneliness becomes a choice that's half active, half helpless. It comes from feeling not good enough to be loved, not strong enough to dare to love. We build invisible walls around our hearts and call it safety. But really, it's just another way of saying we're afraid. Afraid of being seen, afraid of being touched, afraid of believing we're still worthy of love. And in that fear, the emptiness keeps growing slowly, like a wound that never quite heals. In the end, what truly hurts is not just loneliness, but the feeling that we've somehow lost ourselves. We spend so much time looking for someone who can understand us, and forget that the first step is to understand ourselves. When the mask starts to fall, when we're too tired to keep pretending we're fine, that's also when we can finally look at the emptiness inside, without fear. The most important thing is to acknowledge this feeling. Don't try to hide it, and don't feel guilty for having it. This emptiness is not complaining. It's the soul's natural response to a world that's too loud, too fast, and too harsh. It's like a small scratch, not a sign of weakness, but proof that we can still feel, still hurt, and still want to live honestly. This emptiness is the evidence that you are longing for something deeper, truer, and more meaningful than what the world offers. It's not a useless void, but a reminder that your soul is asking for change, a shift from chasing what's outside to living a life that is truly your own. And when you learn to listen to it, the emptiness stops being a deep pit and becomes the starting point of understanding. Because no one can truly understand others unless they face the emptiness inside themselves. This quiet voice inside doesn't need to be fixed or solved. It only needs to be heard and accepted. Sometimes, just staying with that feeling for a while already means you're beginning to change. Give yourself the gentleness you've always wanted from others. Allow yourself to feel weak, tired, or silent without shame. Because in those soft, fragile moments, you're actually returning to your truest self. Maybe right now, what we need most is to realize we are not alone on our own islands. This sense of stuckness isn't only yours, it's a quiet corner shared by so many souls trying to find a more honest way to live. If you're feeling empty, know that out there, thousands of others are too. People staying awake in the night, listening to their hearts, waiting for their own light to be lit. And maybe just knowing that we are walking the same road together is already enough to make the night feel a little lighter.